So hey folks, now that we've seen how to create a small Slack app basically with your n8ns, now I want to show you a little bit more, a deeper dive into how you can use MCPs inside of n8ns and make it work. So for today, we're going to build like a small calendar app. So basically what this agent will do is when you tell the agent that please create like a reservation for me for dinner, or like I don't know, I have an event coming up, send me a reminder on Google Calendar and stuff like that, this agent will do that for you. So I'll quickly show you how to configure that. So for the first step is, let's see how the server can be triggered, right? So for your trigger, you can select MCP server trigger on this, and once you do this server trigger, I mean, ideally you can just see that it's a very basic step of all of this is predetermined for you. You just need to remember that you have your the MCP URLs over here. So you have the test URL and prod URL. And then what I've done is I've created two events. It's a create event or a delete event. Basically, like once you're basically giving this, you're basically gonna allow the MCP server to either create an event or delete an event. You can also make it to so that it can modify event and according to your use case. So a quick thing that you need to see for how to configure this is, for example, this the first thing is you have to connect it to a Google Calendar. And for those who are not familiar with how to do it, basically, okay, let's not go there. This is my calendar. So yeah, so the first thing is, if you see, if you go to something called as Google Console, it can show you what you need to create. So if you go to a Google Console, first page you see is this. When you go to a Google Console, you can like it'll give you an option to create a project, or allow you to set up a project of your own. So I have a project here called Scala demo, but if you wanted to create a new project, you can go ahead and create one for yourself. And then you come in here, you have something called as API and services, and then library. When you click on it, it shows you all of this. Now in this, there's like multiple APIs that you can select, but for our use case, we went to Google Calendar API, right? Like that. So once you come here, it'll allow you to like enable it. It says manage because I've already enabled it, but if it was not enabled, it wouldn't have a button to enable it. So you do that, and then once you have enabled it, you say try this API. Has a lot of documentation, really cool documentation. You can read through it on what all you need to do to be able to use it. But basically, once you create that, you will see all of this, like credentials, OA auth screen, all of that. So just click on credentials, and on the credentials you can create API keys, OA auth, client ID. So for our demo, I went ahead and created the client ID, and I will show you why you need that as well. So that's what. So once you connect it, so for the connection, it needs to, you need to have a callback URL, you need to have a client ID, client secret. Once you do, it will say, see how it says account connected. So it means that your client ID and client secret work, which is great, which means now your Google Calendar is connected to this. One other way of knowing how it was connected is when you go to your calendar, like here, list, it will show you actually a bunch of like lists or different calendars that your account has. Once it does, it means that it worked. So you select it to your whichever calendar account you want. I've selected mine. So the start and default reminders, I have made sure that I give like the bot the permission to do it. So you can just like have all of that. For additional fields, I included the description and the summary so that your agent can read it out for you, and it's just clearer for you from a user's point of view to be able to see those messages. So that's how you configure it. And similarly, you can create another delete event, any of those events. This is a very simple MCP server trigger setup. Now, once you do this, please remember to publish it. And once you publish it, take the protection URL only for your client, because only then it will be able to actively use it, because this is going to be a different workflow, right? So this is your MCP server trigger. Now if we go back to our parent workflow, which is the client or the agent that you're going to use to make those calls. So you see, the first thing is, the very basic thing is, when a chat message is received, the trigger for this workflow is going to be a chat message. So that's why I've included that. There is no need to configure anything. It's just like a very simple trigger. Now, the main things to concentrate here on our AI agent. So when you click the AI agent, the one thing that you need to set up is the system message. You just, you can add any of your details that you want here. I've also included today's date and time. The only reason I did that is to check whether, it is actually working. So if you see, I've included the calendar MCP details and all of that, and then given this message. So as you can see that the expression is this, and in runtime, it actually correctly gives you today's date and time as well. So we know that this is working fine. Then the first thing is the chat model. You can choose whichever one you want. I went with OpenAI chat model, which is similar to the Slack one. Give it simple memory. It has nothing to be like, nothing very super specific or anything to be done like that. And then finally, you have the MCP client. So to configure the MCP client, the first thing is, giving it the endpoint, which is the one that we just saw, the production endpoint. Now I'll show you a quick thing. So if you went in here, and if I give it the, let's say, the test URL, right? If it was published, but if I still give it the test URL and I try to do the selected, it'll say that there was a problem configuring it. So make sure that you only give it the production URL. So once I take the production URL and I go back to the link, put it here, and then for tools to include, I'm going to say selected. Once I say selected, that error is gone, and it is actually telling you which event you want this agent to give, for your agent to be doing it. Why you would need this is, let's say you have multiple agents and you want one agent to only create an event, one agent to only delete an event. You can do that with here, with this window here. So one of the advantages of this is you get an option to basically select which tool you would want to be included, as opposed to certain out of box solutions that we have, which will make sure that all your agents have access to all your agents, all your like tools. So yeah, this is like a nice little way to go ahead and select whichever one you want. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to leave it at all. And yeah, that should be pretty much it.